In the Lebanon, 33 people are known to have been killed in a massive car bomb explosion in the northern port of Tripoli. Some reports say that the death toll could reach 60. At least 95 were injured in the blast, which devastated a 4-story building crowded with shoppers. Many of the dead were women and children. Nobody has yet claimed responsibility for the attack. Intense diplomatic activity is going on behind the scenes this morning to try to secure the release of the 40 hostages hijacked by Shiite gunmen. President Reagan is due to meet officials of the International Red Cross in Washington later today, but efforts to secure Red Cross mediation in the crisis seem to have run into problems. The hijacked plane has spent another night on the tarmac at Beirut Airport.
The gunmen now in control of the hijacked TWA 727 seem prepared to play a waiting game. And they know that they now hold all the aces. This was illustrated when they allowed the pilot of the airliner, Captain John Testrake, to tell reporters that no rescue operation should be attempted.
I think that we'd all be dead men if they did, because we're continually surrounded by many, many guards.
Do you have any thoughts on whether or not the United States should ask Israel to release the people it's holding in Israel?
No, I don't comment.
Have you heard anything from TWA while you've been here?
No.
Also allowed to talk was the flight engineer, Christian Zimmerman, who sent greetings to his elderly father, apparently unaware that he died at the weekend.
Well, just to tell my wife Melvia and Elizabeth and Stephen and Eric and my father that everything's okay. We're surviving.
There are now thought to be 10 gunmen on the plane. The captains confirmed that no passengers are still aboard.
For President Reagan, it was business as usual. He flew to Indiana to deliver a speech on tax reform. The visit was designed by his aides to focus attention away from the plight of the hostages in Beirut. The U.S. Secretary of State, Mr. George Shultz, stayed behind in Washington to reassure the Congress that all that could be done to release the Americans was being done. Shultz and the President's Chief Security Advisor, Robert McFarlane, continue to have behind-the-scenes contacts with various interested parties. They refused to reveal to members of Congress what, if any, progress had been achieved. But it's reported that a plan to use the Red Cross as an intermediary has been plagued with procedural problems.
It's still not known who planted the bomb at Frankfurt Airport, which killed 3 people, 2 of them children. More than 40 people are in hospital. Frankfurt is one of Europe's busiest airports, and the bomb went off in the center of the departure lounge. In El Salvador, 4 American Marines have been shot dead, apparently by left-wing guerrillas. The soldiers, off-duty guards at the American embassy in the capital, San Salvador, were sitting in a cafe when gunmen sprayed it with machine gun fire. 9 other people died in the attack, and more than 20 were wounded. On the space shuttle Discovery, the first test of President Reagan's Star Wars weapons program has gone wrong. Scientists had planned to bounce a low-energy laser beam from Hawaii off a mirror on the shuttle. But as they passed overhead, the astronauts discovered that the shuttle was pointing the wrong way. And that's the way it is at 8:34.
Thank you very much, Gordon. It's 8:34, as Gordon was saying. This is Good Morning Britain. A very good morning to you, particularly if you live in the southwest of Britain or the Channel Isles, because I gather up till now your screens have been blank, and it isn't just the look on Nick's face. It's engineering problems. Terribly sorry. Anyway, we're very glad you've joined us now, and particularly all over Ireland as well, because Danny LaRue wants to say hello to you, because he's going to Cork and Dublin, aren't you?
Indeed, I open on Sunday in Cork, looking forward. My hometown, I was born there.
Do you want to say good morning to Ireland?
Good morning, Ireland. Slanta.
I think we've covered everything. Is there anything VJ wants to say good morning?
Well, I would like to say good morning, India, but I don't think it's forced.
You'll be surprised, it's gone by cable.
I think the engineering problems probably affect India as well, yeah. And just to remind you that after the 9 o'clock news, we're going to be finding out if life as an air hostess today is more dangerous than glamorous, when we talk to a stewardess who came close to death when her plane was hijacked.
Now, you may remember a couple of weeks ago we told you the story of the couple who bought a council house, then found out that it was faulty. The council at first refused to buy back the house, but following TV-AM's report, we're happy to say that the local authority changed its mind. Well, after that was broadcast, we received many calls about similar cases, but some of them dealt with more than just faulty houses. They talked of dangers on whole council estates. Laurie Wiseman now reports.
Milton Keynes, called the city of the future. But the hazardous legacy of its past is catching up with Milton Keynes minute by minute. In West Bletchley, on the city's outskirts, lies a council estate riddled with dangerous structural faults. Built in the 1950s, bad materials and workmanship have caused gutters to crack and walls to split in half. 2 years ago, those defects claimed their first victim. A badly built garden wall toppled over, killing 14-year-old David Hulks. Today, the local council denies responsibility for the original defective work. Residents here are still fighting to get their estate made safe.
It terrifies you. I mean, to know that somebody was killed by one of these defective walls, and there are still several of them around. And in general, you wonder about the safety of the houses as well, because of these concrete gutterings that are in a real bad state now and are deteriorating all the time.
So how can you protect your children?
I think pray at the moment.
Today, that lethal wall has been replaced by a fence. But elsewhere on this estate, of the walls that are still standing, some are cracking and some are falling apart. As you can see at this one, the bricks have actually come apart from the wall itself. Over the past 2 years, it's been discovered that this is just the tip of a very dangerous iceberg. A preliminary survey commissioned by the council was completed last year. It revealed a series of dangerous defects on the estate. The council has pledged to carry out some emergency repairs, but those can't even be done until another full survey is complete, leaving faults like hundreds of sagging gutters in dangerous disrepair.
Which means that the gutter, instead of being level like that, has dropped. And if you look at it, well, it's surprising, because who knows how long it is before that's going to collapse. And there's anybody underneath it. Those gutters are about 18 inches wide, 10 inches thick, and if that falls on anybody, they're dead.
Those who suffer most on this estate are the homeowners. Deciding to buy their home means they won't get any help from the council toward essential and costly repairs. Mr. Cosenza bought his home from the council last year and redecorated. As he did so, the full horror of living here was peeled away layer by layer.
We started on the landing here, and as we come across the crack, as you appreciate now, you see it all crumbles down without very much effort at all. And we investigated further, and part of it is all loose. You know, you can see it all actually crumbles down. And as we've gone further, we've seen, you know, behind the actual frame, door frame, was quite nicely cracked, and we thought we'd investigate it. As we had the door frame out, I had to stop because, who knows, you know, the walls might even fall down.
Franco Cosenza's garden is now full of the rubble fallen from the walls of his home. He feels that he and his council house have been cast onto the rubbish heap.
I think that the main problem is the use of bad materials, the poor workmanship and the lack of supervision during the course of the construction of the houses.
That essentially means the blame lies at the door of the builders themselves, the contractors.
In principle, yes, but the local authority would have an obligation to inspect.
But when we spoke to them, the council still insisted the original faults weren't their responsibility, including the garden walls.
I think the two issues are different. The cracking on the inside of houses was different to the instance which you're relating to, which was the collapse of an outside wall. But weren't they both instances of bad workmanship on the estate originally, which the council is responsible for? Well, I'm not sure that the council are responsible. Somebody must be responsible, but as far as the council is concerned, they do not accept responsibility.
The council themselves had considered suing the original builders of the estate, Drabbles, but found the firm had gone out of business. When I initially contacted one of the firm's partners by telephone, he denied all knowledge of the West Bletchley estate. Hello, Mr. Drabble.
Yes, sir.
Charles Drabble.
Yes.
Hello, my name's Lawrence Wiseman from TVAM. Do you recall I've spoken to you before? about Drabble's builders.
Your mind turning that thing off?
Mr. Drabble still refused to shed any light on the problems at the estate and on the faulty workmanship.
One boy has already died, and it would probably take another awful incident, you know, a fatality, before they would do anything more.
Residents here are now turning to central government for help. In the meantime, they continue to live in fear that the fatal events of 2 years ago could so easily be repeated.
Laurie Wiseman with a disturbing report from Milton Keynes. Well, this morning, some good news about that estate. While Laurie Wiseman was completing his report, word came through that Ian Gow, the housing minister, would now meet with the estate's residents to discuss their problems. That meeting should take place within a matter of weeks, and of course we'll keep you in touch with future developments.
2 programs.